It's never done this before, so I did recently update Studio, so maybe it's like a problem with that, or my line has got issues, like there's been like extreme weather, so that could affect it. Sorry, folks. This is like, I don't know. We got it like set up and it works pretty well last time, apart from my blue screen, and now like it seems like every time there's a little bit of adventure with the whole thing. But there we go. Should be back. You were about to ask Captain Ash to do something, I believe, or were you just?
You had been quiet for a while, so I was trying to bring you in a bit
fantastic.
more.
I was just contemplating how I'm going to get the breathe the serpent into life, but I will wait until we make landfall for it because I've got an idea. It's going to be brilliant, folks. I'm well excited.
Out of curiosity, Pluggy, how long have we been running? I've lost track.
About an hour and a half, I want to say. But
Okay.
the stream's like kind of cut out, so I'm just adding it up. But I think it's about an hour and a half.
Okay.
How are we all
Go
doing?
a little bit further, than we might take a break.
Yeah, that sounds good. Are we good to press on to Vorai then?
Vorai.
I'm good.
Yeah. So, Plucky, were you building a? I think I've gotten a bit confused as to what each person is contributing to this event. Were you still building a stage, or?
So, what my plan is for how I'm going to construct this stage is I am going to, as we approach the coast, I'm imagining it's like, because it's close to the eastern sort of forest-esque like line, I imagine that the coast lying with these really large palm trees. So I'm going to find, using my expert sail skills, I'm going to swing the boat just short of the like the port way where the port docks outreach. I'm going to swing the boat to the shore but not run it aground. I'm then going to turn the palm tree, and as it's collapsing, sculpt it into a serpent, so its tail acts as the gangplank on it, lumbers onto deck, snakes around, moves up to where like the top of the captain's cabin is, so the more like the palm leaves, I'm going to shape into a serpent's mouth, and so its head is sitting onto the top of the just at the crest of where there's a little platform above where the cabin's rounded out. You know, in ships they have elevated things, so it will sit, and I can put a throne on top of there and make seating, so it will snake around the sort of deck and then end with a face opening up where the Lord, if he wishes to join us, will sit, and there'll be like bristles for where coins can be laid upon it, so it should create quite a space on there. So act as gangplank, welcoming people on, and then a stage ending it. Have I explained it well? I feel like it's like
Yeah.
If I may, so I imagine that's a sail roll followed by a.
Don't worry about sail. But very quickly, if you can give me the major project role, it will be dexterity plus craft woodworking.
Fantastic. I'm going to kick in Craftsman needs no tools, which will speed it up, so it allows me to do that in one fast movement. And I'm going to throw in an excellency, if that's okay with you.
Of course, do whatever you like.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm going to use a boatload of moats. Why not, folks? Go big or go home. That's what I always say. I'm using personal essence.
Snake.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Your base difficulty for this one will be 2.
Nice. Rolling and roll 20, I believe. Let me join that. There we are. Wish me luck, folks. Here we go. Do I get any stunt dice, by the way?
Yes. 1 point's done.
That was such a dramatic movement. I loved it. Close the book. Yes. As a matter of fact.
The bare minimum I'm forced to give you.
Wow. Wow. Is that? Sounds like you. I begrudgingly give you some. Let's roll this.
Shut up out there, please. Oh, whoops. Sorry, my mic was supposed to have been muted when I said that.
Classic. Oh, I only got a.
Joey says having kids.
That is the kindest, sweetest way I've ever heard of someone talk to their child when they're doing something wrong. I will at least tell you that.
So that's 8 successes.
8. Well, that beats the difficulty by 3. I just need to... here we go. Does this give you a clearing game advantage?
I hope so.
1 sec. They've gotten excited because their mother has come home,
Oh,
screaming like that. Like that. It's very cute. It's very nice.
sounds very nice.
Loving, full of love.
Oh.
It's just loud. Does this fulfill an intimacy of yours?
It does. At least one.
And that intimacy is?
It could be wanting to make. I like to leave an impression for the good of my ship. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. One of those two wants to leave an impression, and for the good of his like ship, as in this is going to help him get contacts and help bring in clientele, which will help Saren and the rest of the crew. So,
and in leaving an impression, it does create intimacies in the people who view it. They will be highly appreciative of this show, shocked, or there's a gamut of emotions that's going to be invoked by this. So that is all three objectives fulfilled. You beat the difficulty by at least 3, so that means you get 9 gold experience and 3 silver.
fantastic.
Awesome.
And I spend 10 silver, and I put my gold points in. 9 gold, folks. I'm like a proper pirate captain now. I mean, Ash isn't a pirate.
Silver and gold.
What's going on?
And a combination of the two I like to call sold.
Wow.
That was good. Have you been like, instead of like preparing, have you just been like creating a list of these puns based off like different roles? Because I would totally love that if that's the case.
To be honest, Plucky, the secret to originality is the ability to conceal your source.
So your other half.
I said I'm concealing my source.
Hello.
I overwhelmed your guile. I did a read intentions roll.
And I was gonna say he already has years of experience of telling dad jokes.
Savage. Love it.
I'm a dad 4 times over now, so there you go. 4 times the dad jokes. That's my wife in the background saying hi.
Hello.
Beautiful.
Hey.
Would now be a good time to take the break, or do you want to press
Yes,
on?
I've actually just been brought some breakfast, so
Break
let's go on break.
fast.
So you don't have to watch me eat. I'm going to disable my camera momentarily. And I'll be back in maybe about 5 minutes. So otherwise, if you just talk about yourselves, I'll still be on the line to hear you. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And if the chat has any questions to ask, we'd be happy to talk about the characters or answer any questions you have.
Well, book borrower, there may indeed, and there most likely is, be a god of puns. However, what you're really looking for is the exigent of puns.
God, I want to pun someone so bad they kill themselves. That's a charm cascade I want to see.
Would you call that action punishing them?
You have been muted.
That is the only appropriate response. Although I'd kind of do want
That's
to call
that.
it an
That's actually an ability in Demon the Descent from White Wolf Onyx Path Publishing.
I really wanted to play that game actually.
That's
You can,
utterly punishable.
Weaponize quips. It's really good.
So, book borrower, any questions? Is Roland still around? You've got some questions? A random viewer, follower? Lay it on us, otherwise. One of the things I like about.
That's me. I'm random viewer follower. It's Lich.
Hey, Lich.
I've been muted the entire time.
That was good. That was good. I appreciate that, buddy. Hopefully you've been enjoying the show.
I'm going to grab a drink.
I have been. I've been enjoying it.
Fantastic. Book borrower, the power level in Dem gets stupid fast. I find that same with like Exalted. One of the problems I found being a GM relatively inexperienced was gauging that power curve so my players still felt they had a challenge, but it didn't accidentally wipe the party. I find it quite hard. It's quite a difficult curve to do, I feel. I'm looking forward to this party. Hopefully you guys don't feel like press ganged into it. I just thought it would be like, I don't want us to like step into uncharted territory and like, I figured bring the trouble to us. That's like what could go wrong.
Well, we needed a thread to pull that would give us legitimate business with the leader. And how better than to present an amazing business opportunity to a business town by funding Cheshire.
Exactly. Safe investment. The lovely city of Fawns. Let me just pull out my little brochure on Fawns. Oh, yeah, it's tempting. It's tempting, book borrower. I mean,
That's on the other side of the world.
it is on the other side of the world, and it's full of dead zombie ghost things. So maybe when it comes to calibration, maybe we'll swing by that for a, ghost hunter experience. Captain Ash is bravely going to stay a night in a haunted house in Fawns. What could go wrong? Also, is this a guild in the town? Yeah, what's happening with the guild? A book borrower is like bringing all sorts of good questions. I don't know how. I mean, I'm not very au fait in guild operations. I don't know if they're just Nexus based or if they have franchises in a lot of cities. What the whole deal is with the guild.
From what I've read out of character, the guild is basically creation wide. There's pockets of it everywhere. It is the exalted version of the Illuminati.
Yeah, like Nexus is where their corporate headquarters is, essentially.
Oh wow!
But they span. I mean, they're not in every city, but they try to be any place there is a decent market. They try to have some of their fingers in what's going on there. They run trade caravans across huge chunks of creation. They're one of the main drivers of economics in creation since the Great Contagion.
I don't know why you call it great. It sounds pretty crummy. Contagion.
Yeah, they're so wealthy that they and Lookshy are basically the reason why the Empress couldn't conquer the East, because Lookshy had the dragon-blooded counter forces, and they could just finance so many mercenaries or flip client states to their side that they would build up a large enough force to stop them.
Go Team Guild and Lockshy. I like it.
But they're also kind of, I mean, they're also everything that's wrong with capitalism. So
What?
Free enterprise. Essentially, the structure of the guild is that you have the guild factors who sort of oversee everything, and they exist mostly in Nexus. Then you have the merchant princes who, like, once you have sufficient status within the guild, you can become a merchant prince, and basically you go, this is the area, this is the market I want to corner, whether it be slaves or just spice or whatever. So there's a lot of merchant princes out there who are utterly benevolent, or at least not completely evil. And as long as they make the guild money, they have the backing of the factors. It's when endeavors start to go awry, when money stops pouring in, that they start getting annexed. So they have, the guild sort of is utterly neutral as far as a strict alignment would go, because they fund pretty much everything. As long as it makes money, they really don't care.
Yeah, they wouldn't fund my shower toaster idea. Crazy.
In the previous edition, one of their ways of making money was they owned basically like a giant dinosaur-sized creature that you could feed opium to, and it would defecate out heroin.
Wow.
That sounds incredible for a drug trade.
Oh yeah. In the previous editions, in most of the guild books, they had either outright chapters or big sections on how they both do economic warfare and like social influence by like getting nations that shut them out of their markets addicted to drugs, and then sort of crippling them that way, kind of like the English did with China during the Opium Wars.
Truly impressive. I personally haven't read much of the other editions, so I'm only going off what's written in third, and there's, from what I recall, not too terribly much deep information.
There is a lot on them, especially in first edition. But it tends to get a bit crazy the more and more you read on it, and the further into the line it got. Let's not talk about that. So we have a game we're playing that may or may not contain people from the guild in it.
Yeah, we don't even know if the guild's there. I love it.
Of the three of us, I mean, the one with the greatest chance to know if the guild is there would be Etzer.
Yeah, but he's probably kind of wary of the guild because he knows any favors or assistance from them are going to come with a hefty price tag.
See, that's what Captain Ash is doing wrong. He's doing favours for people, but not really adding the price tag. Poor Seren. Poor Seren. Oh. I'm good to go when you guys are ready.
Yeah, so once we get to port, I'm going to rouse up all of the court and, you know, give them the lowdown on how we're going to try and put on a performance that's going to impress some of the more elevated members of the citizens in this community. As fellow artisans, they will appreciate the craft that we're putting forward here, and naturally offer us some level of assistance. And I want them to go out to all the bars, any salons, high-end brothels, basically any place where people of moderate wealth and success are, and sort of spread around some money, buy people some drinks, and sort of loudly talk about this thing, kind of hype it up and do a little viral marketing.
Will they be dressed in their impeccable attire?
Absolutely, always.
Does Cheshire have any particular preparations before the big night?
Primarily is looking over and thinking over. Well, you can't really look, you can't read. Thinking over the information that was presented to him from Etzer, and is just getting his mental routine in line.
Anything further from Ash other than the construction of the stage?
I guess he'll put on some food and drink. So what he's going to do is taking the discarded coconuts. He's going to create spiraling slivers of coconuts, and he's going to wrap meat that he's going to lightly sear and thread it through so it looks like a serpent covered in silver. And in the bowls of the coconut, he's going to whip up a quite a flowery. There's a flower that grows in these parts that's can be quite quickly fermented to create a very sort of light, sort of summery, fragrant, but not very strong drink. So he's going to use the coconut bowls to like add the flowers into those and make a very refreshing summery drink, and have the coconut serpents as the delicacies to go alongside that.
Just going to give you 8 silver experience for all that.
Cool.
Crafting and the cooking and the putting it together. There is a hubbub around town. Once the dramatic entrance of this sort of ship just pulling up out into the outside section of town, these trees being felled and immediately sort of wound over end to end, being twisted together and shaped out into the shape of the Covenant Serpent. The stream of these impeccably dressed people, very rich, very cultured, high art sort of people, sort of pouring off out of the decks, down through the docks, out into the city proper, and spreading out into the various pubs and inns and establishments of good repute.
Wow, they gathered fast. Cheshire's leaning over the side of the boat, hands on the railing, just one hand above his eyes, looking across at the crowd. He's not one for stage fright, but he's not really seen this many people want to see his performance before, and it's kind of exhilarating.
Oh, my good Cheshire, no one doubts your skills on the dance floor, and in the same way, you should not doubt the court's ability to put together a proper fete.
You are correct. I should not have underestimated you.
Ash will be. Sorry, go ahead, Cheshire.
I was just going to say I wouldn't underestimate the skills of the ever handy Captain Ash.
Speaking of which, Captain Ash will be, while the rest are going out and he's finished his preparation, will be like lazily reclining in a hammock with his hat over his face, catching some sleep before the big event.
As I mentioned, there is a hubbub around town. This coastal city of Vorai is well ordered. The buildings here are made of light sandstone brick, almost exclusively. There's no sense of addition or add-on. There's no extensions done. Everything seems to have been absolutely pre-planned from the moment of the city's inception. There's no great walls that encompass it, allowing the city to naturally expand outwards as it needs to, always following the same aesthetic and design as these square buildings. Absolute function over form, but beautiful in its simplicity. Almost shimmering golden in the afternoon sun as the light sandstone reflects the twilight. There are torches and sconces that line the city streets that are tended to by the city guards, city watch. The people here run a vast array of ethnic climes. Some darker skin, some lighter skin. It's a true amalgamation of peoples. What is most remarkable about this city, though, other than the grand and yet simplistic, almost Spartan palace far off towards the foothills of the mountains that edge the back of town, is the people. There are no locked doors in this town. There are no barred windows. Everywhere you go, the streets are clean and clear. There are several fountains spotted throughout town that sort of flow fresh, clear, clean water. There are goblets and drinking cups, fountains, mugs, steins, whatever, all sorts of assortments, laid out near every single fountain where a person can stop and take a drink if they need. Water just seems to flow on endlessly and constantly cycling, crystal clear, almost sweet smelling. The air here is fresh. The slight scent of the salt from the dreaming sea, just accenting everything. That slight way that salt does. Mostly enhancing the other sound, the other sense around the town, more than being itself all pervasive. Being so mercantile, this town, the city, has a wide range of produce available to it. Cooked meats, fish, apologies. Fish is probably more pervasive than any about things like lamb and beef. Chicken. There's no farms around the city. You would get the impression that most of the produce that it has acquired through trade. It doesn't seem to be very self-supported, and yet structured and organized. There's no dockmaster who comes to see you who tries to enact upon you docking fees. There's no quartermaster you have to book in with to be able to set up where you're setting up. The promise of art is enough for the city to just merely part ways and allow you passage through to land and ply your wares. And the city is so excited, so interested in what it is that you have to offer, that it comes as some surprise that the Lord himself descends from his palace, carried down by palanquin, and steps out and greets his people, who seem to greet him back almost familiarly. There's not much of a sense of fear of this man. They are, of course, respectful and beautiful, and make their bows and stay out of his way and respect his authority, do as they are asked, part when they need to, come together when they need to. But it doesn't take a astute socialite like Cheshire to notice that there is no fear here. It seems to be a place of truth, at least on the surface, from what you've seen.
So as Etzer looks around and notices that this is a trade city with no way of really securing goods, or money, or preventing people from sweeping through and taking things and leaving, that's really gonna put him on edge, just because that makes no sense to him. So he's gonna